is Cheryl Kepp. I'm with the Pearland Chamber of Commerce. Today we're running our Workshop on Wednesday class here at the Chamber of Commerce. We provide these educational seminars on Wednesdays throughout the month. Hope you can make the next one. This month we're happy to welcome Al Reese. He's a volunteer with the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, and he has driven all the way from the Woodlands to tell us how the show works. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes. Al, can you tell us a little bit about the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, about the history of it?
I'll be happy to. The show's been around for over 80 years. Actually formed back in 1931. It was formed for charitable purposes, and it continues that as we go today. Actually started with a guy named James Sartwell, founder of the Port City stockyards here in the Houston, Galveston area. He wanted to figure out a way to get more people interested in livestock. So he put an ad in the newspaper, had 6 guys show up. They showed up at the Texas State Hotel, which is today the Guest Quarters Hotel, still exists, corner of Rusk and Fanning. And they met, and great companies have been formed on the back of a napkin. Southwest Airlines is probably one of the best ideas around. They have a picture, and I've actually seen it before, of their napkin that showed the Dallas, Houston, San Antonio L at the time. Well, that's what happened with Mr. Sartwell and his friends. They jotted down some things that they wanted to do, and with that, the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo was born. It originally started as the Houston Livestock Show. The first meeting, the first performance in 1932 was held in the Sam Houston Hall. Now, many of you might remember the Sam Houston Coliseum in the music hall today on the site of the Hobby Center. But this was not that Coliseum. This was a Coliseum that was built for the 1928 Democratic Convention. It was about 25,000 people. It was a wooden structure, and it was a temporary structure. But that's where it was held. And then in 1938, it moved into the Sam Houston Coliseum. Sam Houston Coliseum back in the 60s and the like, 40s, 50s, that was the place to hold things in Houston. There was no Alley Theater, there was no Astrodome. This was the place, and a lot of great things have occurred there. One, performers, Elvis. Elvis started out Sam Houston Coliseum in 1965. The Beatles were there, and in 1967, one of the greatest things that ever happened there. My wife and I graduated from Westbury High School, and we walked down the center aisle to our coronation. And that was back in the period of time that if you were at a large high school in Houston, chances are pretty good your graduation was held at the Sam Houston Coliseum. Only held about 9,000 people. Gene Autry was one of the first stars. He appeared there. I saw Roy Rogers and Dale Evans there in my early years here. But in 2002, we outgrew it, and we moved to, 1966, we outgrew it, and we moved to the Astrodome. At that particular point in time, that's when the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo really went into a complete new area. We've gone from a 9,000 seat Coliseum to a 40, 50,000, depending upon how it was configured, seat at the Astrodome. We had the land to expand for ultimately the Astro Hall, the Astro Arena. Eventually that became Reliant. Eventually that became NRG or Energy, pronounced both ways. Today, through the work of Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, we have participated either buying it ourselves or financially with over 2 million square feet of space out there in that particular area. All because of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. So that's kind of history. Walked you from there to where we are today.
And what's the overall impact of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo?
The economic impact is huge. I describe it this way, and as I go through, I'll try to give examples of what numbers are and things of that nature. Next year, 2017, Houston will get the Super Bowl. And I believe this is the 3rd time that we've gotten the Super Bowl. Arizona got it, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, they put a study out. And the study for the Super Bowl said there was roughly a $500,000 impact to the greater Arizona area, greater Phoenix area, when the Super Bowl came in. The Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, the economic impact is about $475,000 to $500,000 per year. It's as if we have a Super Bowl in Houston every year, year after year after year. And it's not just that economic impact, it's the economic impact of all the employers year round. Of course, we're at a point now where there's a lot of excess people, I don't mean excess, but a lot of extra people doing a lot of things because the show itself is going on. But that's the kind of impact that we have. The rodeo itself raises over $100 million per year. The tax impact, $27 million. Economic impact for employees, over 7,000 employees, full-time, not Houston Livestock Show Road employees, but that's the number of full-time equivalent jobs, just as a result of the rodeo.
Tell us about the scholarship program and how that works.
From the very beginning, the heart of the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo was youth and education. If we cannot educate the next generation that's coming along, and you hear this in religion, you hear it in business, you hear it in school, you hear it in anything. If we can't educate them to the importance of giving back to the community, the importance of being able to know agriculture, we will not be a very good country going forward. That's what we try to do. We put the effort into the students. That's at the heart. Whenever you're out there, you hear the term youth and education. And it's really at the heart. The first scholarship itself was a $2,000 scholarship offered back in 1957. This was to a single person. Last year, 2015, 2016, we've got over $25 million just in that year given towards scholarships, educational programs, the junior show exhibits, graduate assistants, things of that nature. So it is huge in what we do. The scholarships themselves, and there's a common misconception. Misconception is you have to be in an agricultural or ranching or some form of scholarship to go to a school. No, not true. Essentially, there are two requirements. The first is you have to be a resident of the state of Texas and you have to be a citizen of the United States. Those are the two things that say you are eligible for it. Yes, there are other requirements that go through that. You have to graduate for practical purposes from a public high school in Texas. And in addition to that, you have to be going to a not-for-profit Texas college or university enrolled in a 4-year program. That really is all that you have on the qualifications. Yes, there are quality qualifications, there's GPA requirements and things of that nature. It's a highly competitive process. But you can major in anything you want to. All of the University of Texas systems qualify. All of Texas A&M qualifies. All of Baylor, TCU, go through all the private schools. All of the junior colleges, they all qualify if they have a 4-year program and you're able to participate. One of the best things about it is this is not a small scholarship. A lot of people will get $500,000 scholarships, which are terrific. These are $18,000 scholarships, $4,500 per year. As long as you stay there, you might have to maintain the grades. We've given, the show itself has given over $400 million in scholarships to students around the state of Texas. There are over 16,000 students that have been awarded scholarships. One thing we started, and we did this either 2 or 3 years ago, I don't remember the exact year, but everyone doesn't need to be in a 4-year educational program. So we have now expanded that to a 2-year program. If you're in a technical program, again, you have to have the same qualifications I mentioned earlier, but enrolled in a 2-year technical degree, you can also qualify. And that's a $9,000 scholarship, $4,500 per year. You have to maintain your grades. Unfortunately, if you have children, grandchildren, friends, neighbors, the deadline for this year is passed. It was February the 8th. I did do a program the Friday before February 8th, I forget what the date was, and they were awarding scholarships to some of their particular people in their community, high school seniors. And I asked one of the seniors there, I said, have you applied for the rodeo scholarship? And he went, no, I haven't. I said, I bet I know what you're doing this weekend. And his mother and his counselor said, yes, we do. So he actually applied for it. I don't know if he got it or not, but great opportunity for them.
Tell us about how many people it takes to do the show.
There are two answers to that. We have a staff of right around 100 people, just over 100 people. These are paid employees that run the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. Joe Cowley is our president and chief executive officer. But the heart of what makes the Livestock Show and Rodeo work are its volunteers and its committee system. Anybody here on committees or the like? No. We have over 100 different committees. There are 33-ish thousand volunteers that we have that work. How many people is 33? It's a whole lot of people. But let me put that in context. The single largest employer in the Houston general area is the Memorial Hospital System. Okay? They've got past 2 of their locations on the way here this morning. They've got just over 19,000 people. We have 33,000 volunteers. Houston's the energy capital of the world. If you add together Exxon, Shell, and Chevron, all the employees they have in the Houston area, you're at about 33,000 people. So that's the number of people that we have. And the people are not just people that, put their name on a list and they can put it on a ride. A bunch of people got together. I forget how many people were in the second trail ride that came in from Brenham with this back in the 50s. And with that, the auspices of the trail rides started. The longest trail ride actually starts in Reynosa, Mexico. It's an international trail ride. It takes about a little over 3 weeks to get here. But everybody ends up in Memorial Park on normally the Thursday and the Friday night before the parade, before the rodeo starts. Parade has another thing to do. That was last Saturday. I don't know if this is the best weather we have ever had for trail rides and parade, but it's got to be pretty close. The weather was just absolutely fantastic this year. So that's one of the things to do out there. Clearly one of the things is just the rodeo itself, all the entertainers that are there. I mentioned earlier Gene Autry, Roy Rogers. If you are a country and western person, chances are pretty good you have been at the rodeo. One of the stories I like to tell is about Garth Brooks. It was early 90s. He was just getting started. Had his second album, No Fences album out, which is the one that has Friends in Low Places on it. The way it worked, and this is back to the Astrodome, all the lights would go out. They had the stage in the middle of the room, middle of the floor there. They put the star in the back of the pickup truck, drive the pickup truck to the star, to the center of the stage. The band was already there. The lights would come on. Bang, the lights hit it. Ladies and gentlemen, Garth Brooks. No Garth Brooks, no band. Nothing. A blank stage. Then all of a sudden you heard his voice come over the loudspeaker system. And this was back when wireless mics were first coming in. They put the spotlights on the chute gates. They open up the chute gates and hear Garth Brooks and his band walk in from the chute singing Rodeo. He had the audience right there and he never let go. One of the most fantastic performances I've ever seen. But George Strait, all of those, they've had other people that are not necessarily country western people. Elvis has been there, Tony Bennett, Paul Iacca, Pat Boone, Jimmy Buffett, all of these are just people that have gone there. This year, the stars, and I'm just going to read a few, this is certainly not all of them, Miranda Lambert, Chris Young, Billy Currington, Pitbull, Florida Georgia Line, Band Perry, Brad Paisley, and Luke Bryan. So those are just some of the things to do. Last weekend we had the world, or actually just a couple of days ago, had the World Championship Barbecue. Again, fantastic weather for that. That is now turned into just a huge, huge operation. Back in, quote, the early days, when it first started back in the mid-'70s, I went out there with some friends that had a booth. Our booth was a pickup truck. We had a Weber cooler, our Weber grill, a couple of ice chests full of beer, and some folding chairs. That was it. And that was what most of the booths were back there. You know, today they're vans, they're 18-wheelers literally that are the grill itself where all the cooking is done. But it's a whole lot of fun. Carnival, I don't know if they are selling half-price tickets here in Pearland, but they probably are. Carnival is absolutely fun. If you've got children that are whatever age, they love the carnival, along with the adults. Sometimes you just got to find a child to go out there so you can go on the ride with it. The auctions, Sunday night I was at the wine auction, a lot of fun there. The first auction, the Grand Champion steer, and this is one of the large sources of revenue that we get. First Grand Champion steer sold for $506. That was back in 1932, excuse me, $504. Last year, and I'm just going to read off numbers. These were what the Grand Champions went for: 208, 260, 170, 215, 145, and 300,000. And that's just for one animal, one pen of chickens, one barrow or something of that nature. In total, we raised over $10 million through the junior auctions. The large majority of that goes back into the junior auction for people that work. Art has been there for a long, long time. I don't know this specifically, but just by the sheer numbers, the art program is probably one of the single largest participations that we have had over the years. Over 200,000 students in and around Houston have participated in that art program. And some of the art is over the top excellent. I saw some of it the other night. I mean, it is absolutely fabulous. And these are just, quote, kids that do this. I mentioned the wine. Wine is becoming more and more, raised over $1 million at the auction on the final number. And then the rodeo itself. Starts at 6:45 during the week, 3:45 on the weekends. For several years now, the entertainer has been the last piece of it, and it's always good. There's not a bad seat in Energy Stadium. It's one of the least expensive seats you're going to have for an entire show, as well as the entertainment. So that's what's going on. Last year, how many people we had? We had about 2.5 million people in total that came out.
So if anyone in the community is interested in volunteering, how does one get involved?
Let me start this way. One of the best things to do is just go. Just right down the freeway from here, probably less than 10 miles from where I'm standing right now. Just go out there. Entrance, I don't think it's gone up. I think it's about $10. That gets you into the rodeo grounds, it gets you into the agricultural exhibits, gets you back where all the merchandise is. Doesn't get you into the rodeo itself, but it gets you into all of those areas, which can be an entire day just walking around. Live animal births there. We have literally hundreds of births each year, and put right out there in the open for the kids to see. Again, the educational aspect of what we're doing. Become part of a buyer group. I'm part of 3 different buyer groups at the rodeo when we buy steers and poultry, things of that nature. And believe me, I am not at the top level by a long shot. But just to be able to participate. Every year that we bought something, we have the opportunity to meet the exhibitor. And in most cases, it's going to be somewhere they're either side of 10 years old, sometimes they're 13, 14, 15 years old. These are kids that know and understand what it takes to raise an animal. You know, cows don't take Sundays and Saturdays off. Cows and steers, they don't get the weekend off. The children, the kids have to know what it takes to really raise this animal. I've never had a situation where I did not get a heartfelt thank you note from the person that we bought the animal from. So it's a terrific opportunity. Volunteer, go on the website. You know, everybody has a website. Houston has one, Rodeo has one, HLS&R.com. You can go on there and you'll see there's a little icon that says, volunteer. As I said, there are over 100 different committees you can search down. I'm on the speaker committee. It gives me the opportunity to work all year and not just a concentrated effort during the rodeo itself. Back in the 80s, I was on Corral Club, which is, you're there at the rodeo basically every other night. But here I have the flexibility to speak all around the city at various times during the year. And we're on television, we're on the apps. Just go. The rodeo is a whole lot of fun. So, that it. Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much for allowing me to talk with you this morning. I appreciate your questions and look forward to seeing you at the show sometime.
Your time this morning to be with us and educate us about. I think I learned something. I hope y'all did too. One more time, we'll be featuring some of the rodeo art from Pearland ISD. It should be up for viewing here in the Commerce Center by next week. So please drop in, 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. We'd love for you to take a look at it. As Al mentioned, it's awe-inspiring, truly. Thank you so much for participating in Workshop on Wednesday today. Have a great day.